Hey everybody, happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
I cannot believe another week has just blown right by, but it's kind of that time of year, right? I'm sure you guys are, buried to your ears as well, right?
It's the wind.
Man,
Just blowing the weeks out of here.
yeah, the wind here has been horrendous. But anyway, life is good, can't complain. Got a little sun. B got some sun, which was pretty nice. Let's get some hellos in here real quick. Helen, welcome in. Cameron Smith, hello. Terminator from Ontario, Canada is in the house. Started dope. Good to see you. Jane, welcome in. Beth Emily, good to see you as well. Carrie Davis, how's trouble? Lisa's in the house. Good to see you. LJC, how are you, my friend? And the greatest name on the internet.
Half a Bluff Plum.
Which, by the way, Half a Bluff Plum says, happy Friday. Just walked in the door. Chicken coop is 80% complete. Yep. Jesus is in the house. Good to see you. Kent, how goes it? Life is good. Well, as people are piling in, B, what do you got to talk about tonight?
The first thing I have on my list is the wind, because you'll probably hear it blowing past us. This is it actually only said that our wind was 18 miles an hour yesterday, and he's like, there's no way that's 18. There's has to be more than that. Has to be blowing more than
I talked to the neighbor, and he said that he thought they were over 70.
The wind gusts?
Yeah, we're over 70.
It was very loud. The wind was.
Yeah.
I noticed a piece of, I guess, flashing or rake or something on my barn. The is not screwed down anymore. So I need to get a ladder, I guess, and put it up there and see if I can screw it back down. They must have not hit the studs when they screwed it on, because I don't know how else. It's just you could see the screws in it. It's just kind of pried up.
Hey, real quick, I want to welcome in Mary Michelle, Will Be Cool, Betsy De La Rosa, Grateful Hearts Ranch, Skanes Girl, and Barbara. Good to see you guys. Go ahead, sorry. I just got to keep up on them, because I don't keep up on them, they'll be going.
Then you won't know where you're at.
Yep.
So anyway, the wind is, you can hear it. That's the wind. Next thing I had was I started a second batch of turkey eggs in the incubator. I started one batch. I had found 13 eggs, turkey eggs. So I put those into the incubator on the 16th. And then I found 17 more eggs. I was blessed to find a natural nest, I guess. And I confiscated them, made the nest better, put a chicken egg in there to say, keep laying here. Took the eggs, there were 17 of them, and I put those in the incubator on the 22nd. So I'll have hopefully, if I'm blessed, 30 eggs. And then I ended up...
No, you already have 30 eggs.
Oh, 30
You've already been blessed with 30 eggs.
Chicks, babies. There was one that had a little hole in it, and I had asked... I think I was talking to Pippin, and she said, put a little bit of wax, like candle wax. And so I'd taken a birthday candle and lit it and put a little wax on the hole to see if I could get the turkey to hatch anyway. That's a science experiment.
Yeah. Hey, hold tight. Stan Guthrie, welcome in. Aljo and the brains of the operation, Barbara, are in the house. My buddy Mo Engineer is here. City Greens, good to see you. Apple Blah Plumps is close to 90 already. Yeah, again, both welcome in. Jesus says, we have a tarp shed the wind has been destroying. Finally replaced the tarp last weekend and put a cargo net over the top. We'll see how well it works.
Oh, a cargo net.
Yep. Dana Green, hello. Tina Conkle, hello. And no live is complete without a. That's right. Welcome in. All right, go ahead. Got to keep up.
Trying to grow my flock. I also had, after I started the second batch of turkey eggs, I found another 6 turkey eggs. And so I was able to gift it to the school so that one of the classes could put it in their incubator and make turkeys. So I'm blessing everybody with eggs.
Hey, Dana Green, welcome in. Hey, babe, I got to point this out. Pack Rat says B and her Marianne pigtails.
Marianne. Yes, I said, should I take these out? And he said, nah, don't bother.
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay,
I think you look
I'll
great.
leave them in.
I think you look great.
What else? I got to hang out with a few friends and talk about food. Talked about gardening and harvesting and processing and storing, all the things that come along with this time of the year and being able to grow our own food. So I have the tomatoes in the greenhouse. I had said something to the group that I had extra. So I'm hoping to have enough to share with planting as many. Some people were like, oh my gosh, why did you plant so many plants? Like for the greenhouse video. Did you see I posted a greenhouse video?
I did.
And so I was hoping to have enough for me and then to plant enough plants here for us and then enough plants here to help others, but then also plants to help give to people for their stuff.
And you are getting requests.
I am. Yep.
Yep. Hey, real quick, RN, welcome in. RN said that they were having a hard time finding us tonight. Sorry about that. Jesus said they had a hard time too. Sorry about that. Yeah, and also Nitos, welcome in. You turn the fan on?
Or open the window. It's hot. I don't know what it is in here, but it is hot.
There you go. Turn the fan on.
After that too, after the meeting with our friends, I called other people that I knew and asked them if they were going to be hatching eggs and if they were going to hatch eggs or if they thought about it, that I had hatching eggs or I had fresh eggs that I could give to them to possibly help them grow their flocks if they wanted to. So I was calling a whole bunch of people, like sending text messages. Anybody want eggs? Anybody looking to hatch?
Yeah.
I got fresh eggs. I even have turkey eggs. So
Skane's girl said she had a hard time finding us too. Terminator said, I'm hunkered down for the big ice storm. Yeah, you keep it up there. I'm done with it down here.
I saw that.
Yeah.
It's supposed to, isn't that crazy? It's like 90 degrees.
Yeah.
Here, 80.
Yeah,
it was 80.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they said that was 30 degrees warmer than typical.
Hey, look at that. Sharpshooter's in the house. What's up, Sharpshooter? How are you? Good to see you. What else you got, bud?
Oh.
Hey, why don't you tell them about your story with Callie?
My story with Callie.
Yeah, you guys know Callie Blackwell, right?
Oh my gosh, no. It was an accident. I accidentally touched her breast. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And she goes, oh my God. And I was like, what happened? What happened? What happened?
How did she say it again?
My turn. I went, oh, what? I said, I'm so sorry. Yeah, it was, it's so crazy too, because I don't know if that's because she's from another country or if it's just her personality or, because she's just fun loving in general. So, I've never had that happen before. So I was completely shocked. Anyway, I love her. She's super nice.
And the beautiful the West Wesley's in the house says it's hard to come in with all the work going on. I know, and it's still daylight outside. Right? I know maybe that we should, when it gets to the summertime, make the lives later. But man, the problem is by the time I get to 9, I'm done. Yeah, he's like, nope.
I can't stay up much longer than that.
Yeah, the king himself, Jeff Juicy, Hefty, Lefty, Amazon Mud Dauber Slick is in the house with us tonight. Good to see you. Oh, wait, what did Dana Green say? Hold on, Dana Green's got a comment here. Let's see here. I have 2 broody hens. My granddaughter and I built a hen house. Lots of predators in East Texas so they can raise chicks protected.
I love that. I love that you're including her.
Yep. Yeah, LJC says, I lived in England. I think it's her personality.
Okay.
Hey, Ryan, the Matador's in the house. Hey, Ryan, I hope you're getting all of the announcements that are going on, although I'll cover some of them tonight. Silver Lining, how are you, my friend? I hope all is well with you. I'll keep my big mouth shut tonight, just for you. Well,
Don't do that.
Maybe not. Hey, Songs of Joy, welcome in. Go ahead, babe.
So one day I spent this week planting the supporting plants for the fruit trees that we planted.
Mike one.
It's a lot. The whole guild thing, I'm coming to find out. I mean, it's a lot I understand why you do it. But getting there is a chore to plant everything with. So I planted with the peach and the plums, I planted the strawberries and marigolds. And then with the apple and pears, I planted the purple coneflower. I'd already planted the comfrey when we planted the trees last week. So now I'm putting all those, and that's still not even done. I still need to do the beans or the nitrogen fixers and for the ones and the repellents for the others. We don't have any nut trees up there, like almonds or whatever. When we were looking through here, I was looking at the different guilds and I went, oh, wait, the nuts. None of the almond trees, the hazelnut. I don't think we've planted. I think almond and hazelnut were the only ones that we did plant.
Needus wants to know what planting zone you're in. They just changed it.
The 6A? 6A?
Yeah. Oh, real quick, Banquet of Consequences, welcome in. Good to see you. Barb says, I saw a video on how they are vaxing all the baby chicks. It was so sad to watch. Yeah, you were talking about the one where they were doing it through their skull. I watched that a little bit too, but we don't try not to buy much of that. We pretty much try to just hatch all our own.
Yeah.
No.
If we can.
If we can, right.
Because I had the best success rate the very first time I did it with the little tiny incubator. And then I moved to a bigger incubator and my ratio went down. This is the first time I'm using the incubator that I have right now. Tag got it for me for my birthday.
It's a big one.
Or Christmas, last year or even the year before that. And I wasn't sure how much electricity it used. And I didn't know how to use it. And when it's time to incubate them, learning takes time. And so I went ahead and got it out, unpacked it from the box and put it together, put the eggs in it. And it's so far going okay. It has a tank on the top with a tube that goes to it and it leaks. So I can't put water in the top.
I thought we fixed that.
Reservoir. No, you tightened it, but it didn't fix it. It still leaked. I just didn't put water in it. There's a tray inside and I put water in that and it seems to keep the humidity up.
Yeah, Matador says we had less than a 50% hatch rate this go around. Going to put some more in soon.
Wow, 50%.
Yeah, we just started hatching 2 weeks ago, or started incubating 2 weeks ago. 10 days ago.
The 16th.
Okay, so the 16th is when we put our first batch in.
And it was turkeys because I have the big, nice brooder. I want to put the turkeys in there. So I'm concentrating right now on my turkeys, which is going to be a 28-day.
Yeah, and they don't lay as often. Chickens you can get to any time of the year. Right? This is really your only opportunity to get to.
Yeah, spring. Yeah. Because then they're going to slow down and then they're not going to. If I could actually find their nests, there's 8 girls out there. So I should be able to find more eggs than I am. I'm finding 2 to 4 eggs every day on the turkeys.
Jesus says, thoughts on getting eggs from someone with random chickens to hatch myself. Yeah, fine. We raised a lot of barnyard mixed chickens for a long, long time. We don't do a lot of that anymore.
Well, you don't necessarily have to get barnyard mix. There's some people who have.
She says random chickens, which is why I went.
Oh, well, I would consider those random chickens too, though.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I'd rather go get them from a farmer somewhere and hatch them than I would to get them out of Tractor Supply or something like that. Right. So the thing about eggs, and I think, Banquet of Consequences talks about it, is, you got typically about half male, half female that are going to come from them, and then you got to deal with the roosters. But if you're looking for some eggs, I promise you, I know lots of people you can get them from, and you can get them from us also if you want them, but we're probably a long ways away. Oh yeah, there you go. Ryan Matador says, I'm happy to share. Yep. Amen. Yep. 100%. RN said, and I was having a hard time following this, but it says, anyone see the latest YouTube about how 2 college kids hacked the new Ray-Ban Meta glasses and took a photo of a face? The glasses searched the web and displayed all the personal information by AI. I did not read that, but that don't surprise me in the least. And it's going to get, I think, worse and worse and worse about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, real life trad wife says, if it's eggs to eat, you want barnyard mix. We'll give you eggs. Yeah, that's a fact.
If it's barnyard mix you want, we'll give them to you.
Yep. Yeah. Eggs all over the place. It's funny they talk about all these, the soaring egg prices. I know they've come down and all this stuff. You guys know all the conversations about that. In our neck of the woods where we live, there's no egg problem because we all grow them. We give away more eggs than we eat.
Yeah, I haven't paid any attention to the eggs in the store either.
Yeah, it's because we don't get them. Hey, David.
Well, I don't know if they have them. I don't know how much they are. I don't know.
David Strom's in the house. Good to see you.
Go on. Welcome.
Yep, go on.
Greenhouse. The video that I posted in the greenhouse, that was actually a day old. I need to get in there and transplant the brassicas. I need to get those out of the greenhouse. They are dying in there because it's just too hot for them in there.
Dana Green says, I got some to hatch from my sister last year because she always has a broody hen and it's working this year. I'm going to tell you guys, we've done it every way there is. We've let the moms just sit on them. The negatives to that is your hatch rate's low. We do them in the incubator. There, you typically get a pretty good hatch rate. But I'm going to tell you the best way we've ever done it, and it's hard to do. Like it's not easy to pull off. Is I personally like to get them in the incubator and let them run to about a day or 2 or 3 before they hatch, and then go sneak those eggs underneath the broody mom, so that when they hatch, the mom takes care of them because she teaches them everything.
She does, but still the success rate is lower because just stuff happens.
Yeah, well, they get stepped on by a turkey.
Yeah, or she doesn't accept it.
Right.
And then that's vicious to see.
Yeah. Luis says, Tag, did you see the increase in cattle theft? Good thing you have a barn. Haha, really? They are telling folks to keep your cattle as close to home as possible. I did see this, and cattle prices are at an all-time high.
People are stealing the cows.
But babe, you can't. Everything's expensive, and people.
Well, you have to take that cow somewhere and butcher it.
A garage works great. My dad, when I was a young guy, would bring a deer or an elk home all the time and butcher it on our kitchen table.
I know, but that's not a cow.
And an elk ain't far off.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, Dana Green says, don't want too many. That's what I want mamas doing the work. Yeah, I like that too. Let's see here. RN says, at Aldi pasture raised eggs are only about $1 more than cheap eggs. At Publix, they are $12.98. Whoa.
Crazy how there's such a price difference from 2 different stores.
Terminator says, I still can't work my garden bed. Still under a foot of snow. And that is why they call you the Terminator, right?
That's Canada.
Yeah. Nito says, desperate people will do just about anything to survive. Yeah. Real life trad wife says, my grandfather butchered our cows in the shed. Yeah. Yeah. Keep them animals close to home. I think that comes into a little bit designing your place too. I know there's a lot of starter homesteads out there listening, and as you guys are going through it, think about that. Can you see them from the road? What levels of security can you put in place for your animals? Just no different than you put levels of security in, for your family.
That's sad that we got to do that.
That's the way it is. Big fences.
I mean, in order to steal a cow, you have to get it into a trailer.
100%.
Or walk it to your farm, but then it's close enough. I mean, we had a cow that ran away.
Right.
And it had to have gone somewhere. Well, one of our neighbors, right?
Yep. Yeah,
I mean, it didn't disappear.
Yep, and nobody ever called, and we were just out of cow.
Yeah. Yeah. So greenhouse, I'm gonna transplant stuff.
Okay.
Juice. Did you put my tree pictures? Did you put any pictures in here?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
Well then, so this weekend I'm planting the brassicas. I'm getting them out of the greenhouse. I'm planting them in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully anything else that needs to go in the ground right now.
Yeah, because you planted a ton already.
Yeah. I haven't planted like row crop stuff yet.
That time.
You can plant roots.
Yeah, that's true. You got onions in the ground, potatoes in the ground.
Yes. But like carrots and beets and radishes and
the
turnips. Mm-hmm. We haven't had the Tabletop Farms turnips in forever. Yeah.
Okay.
They are the Hackerai turnips, and they are delightful.
David, you gotta read David's comment.
I was asking how you keep track of so many starters. You mentioned something about Mongolian slave lord.
That's how we keep track.
Yeah.
David had asked on Bee's short in how she keeps track of all these plants, and I just replied,
it's just our food.
The Mongolians, slave lord. That's just how it works.
My job.
Yeah. Let's see here. Hey, RN says, please hit the like button. Thank you, RN. Terminator says, my daughter and son-in-law desalination, the butchering. I raise all the animals and they butcher. He has facilities. He is licensed in refrigeration and a set up cooler off his garage. That's pretty cool.
Wow, that's nice.
Hey, Straw 54, welcome in. Amy B. Hello. She says, what's everyone's favorite summer cover crop? You like clover.
Yeah.
Right. That's what you plant the most of.
Yeah.
Hey, AK Amber, welcome in. Dave and Sonia from Michigan, and hello. AK Amber says, jumping in late, but wanted to say hi. I love Chicken Talk. In the last 3 days, I've been helping a guy planting boxwood tree cuttings. Really? I got 6,000 planted already. Oh my goodness.
Congratulations.
Yep. We have another Terminator in the house.
A little jealous. Wow. That's great. What are the boxwood trees for?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know?
I don't.
Why are you planting boxwood? What else? Oh, guess what happens on Monday? Do you know? Well, possibly.
I gotta work.
Possibly. Oh, yes, you do, buddy. Yes, you do. No, I don't know if you actually know this or not, but you possibly have jury duty. Actually, you have like 4 chances this month. 4 chances. It's almost once a week.
Yeah. Well, they're not. They won't have me serve because what I'll say, things I will say to them, they will not want me to serve. But.
Oh, you mean once you get there?
Yeah.
They ask if you have any of this or that.
Instigator, welcome in, bud. It says cover crop as many species as possible. Yeah. And AK Amber says she loves planting. Will be cool, says I'm in zone 8B, 9A. I'm already putting tomatoes in the ground. Oh, not
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and Amy B says the box would make a nice tight hedge. Yep, here we would use hedge to make a tight hedge.
And that is really good wood for burning too.
Yeah.
So Monday. So we have to actually on Sunday night, we have to call the jury duty hotline, and it's a pre-recorded message that says either yes, show up, or no, don't show up. Mm-hmm. So we will know on Sunday night if you have to go. Mm-hmm. Oh, something else. I think Black Friday or something, somewhere in November, I was watching one of Billy Bond from Permapasture Farms videos about boots. And he had this pair of boots, and they were high C boots. And I went and I bought a pair of, not the exact ones he had, because I found a cheaper pair. And I bought those, the ones that they had on like a, special. And I bought them and I got them and I wore them and they fell apart. And I took a picture of them. They were just 5 months old. I took a picture of them, and or first I sent an email to the company and said, I bought these boots, help. And they said, do you have an order number? Can you send me pictures? And I said, I don't have an order number, but I registered them and here's some pictures. And they said, those particular boots are not in stock. Would you like these boots? And they're camo colored. And I was like, yeah, sure. I really don't care what color they are because I wear them in the barn. And the cows don't care what color they are. I just would prefer that they were waterproof. And so they sent them to me. And within a week's time, I had sent them an email. They had sent me an email, and they had shipped me a pair of boots, and I received them. So like the company High C, I would absolutely recommend their boots. They were reasonably priced, and they backed them, which you don't see that very often.
And good customer service.
I had very limited contact with them. They were like, hey, so when you buy a pair, you have to actually let them know, you have to register them. You have to let them know who owns them. And that way, if there's something wrong with them, then they're backing them. So you want them to know where you are at. And they did. They shipped them right away.
Icky Hammer says they have 3 shade houses and grow them to sell for people for decorations. They are an ancient kind and grow slow. They will be in the shade house for 2 years before they get moved to the field.
Wow.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Wow.
Didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, that's fine. The last thing I have on my list is the feed. So I got down to just a little bit of cow feed, and they mainly eat hay. Yeah, prairie. Yeah, prairie hay. And
What's the name of that boot company? I'll put a link in here.
High C, it's HISEA. Like C.
I'm going to put a link in there for you real quick here.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
And if you go to Billy Bond's channel, there's a
discount code.
A discount code. Like it's like 15% off or something like that, which I was like, hey, bonus. So
there you go, Ariane. I posted a link for you.
I would recommend them. I got the barn boot. I got the barn boot.
Your
boot barn. God.
You want to tell the fine people about the debacle with chocolate milk?
I don't know what chocolate milk. What?
So.
Oh my gosh. You're just a comedian tonight. Man.
So B and I, not for the reasons many would think, but B and I pretty much shower together every day. And it's has mostly to do with the fact it uses less water, it uses less energy, and just the way we've learned to do it. So it's very normal for us. And she was we were taking a shower, and she was kind of being a little smart butt and was talking about.
Not me.
Yeah, her was talking about, Tag needs some chocolate milk, like that, being sassy like that. And I said, hey, I can get my own chocolate milk, no big deal. So anyway, I got out of the shower, and she was still in there because she takes a lot longer than I do. And so I make myself some chocolate milk, and all I did was had my chocolate milk, and I opened the shower curtain, and I said, imagine what can be unburdened by what has been. And you should have seen the poo-poo look I got on her face when I compared her to Kamala Harris.
Doug had to get his own milk. I'm surprised you knew where the cups were.
AK Amber said those are good boots until they started making them in China. I didn't know they were made in China.
Probably why it fell apart.
Probably why it fell apart. But you got a new pair. So that's I have 2 pairs.
Well, one pair is no longer waterproof.
Well, from the
And I
ankle
hate
up.
getting stuff on my sock. You have your foot in your boot and you step in something and it goes into your boot and you're like, oh, my sock is gross. And then you're already at the barn and then you're like, I have to go all the way back to the house. Gross.
You know, I never think like that.
When your sock is wet, you're just like,
I've stepped in mud holes and filled my shoe with mud.
you just skip.
I just go on my day and it'll dry up, you know.
Just keep going. Just keep going. Yeah. No. I'm like, the whole time I'm walking, I'm like, oh, my toes feel gross. Ew, I hate this.
You are such a weird one.
But you walk around barefoot.
I do.
I do not like that feeling.
All right, Stu, let's talk about what's coming up and then we'll talk about the homestead a little bit.
Sure.
And we'll get some good news. So we have, let's see here. Banquet says, shower together. That was the shower with a friend from the 70s. Yep, I'm a 60s child. Yeah, it's you know what? Again, it's, you know, like they talk about how you don't know the value of water until you have to carry every drop. It's true, but it's also true as you don't know the value of energy until you have to produce every watt. And so for us, we conserve energy, you know, pretty much at, you know, every place that we can conserve it, you know. But AK Amber said, what was the best part of your week? That was a great question. What was the best part of your week? Can you think about it? I'll go first.
Okay.
So I have a little friend, 9-year-old friend of mine who I'm pretty close to, who said something to me, and maybe it wasn't necessarily the best part of my week, probably the most profound part of my week. And she just told me, we were talking about life and what life was. And she shared with me that life was nothing more than a maze, and that at the beginning of the maze is when you're born, and at the end of the maze is when you die, but everything else in the middle is just a maze. And it's amazing to me how just how smart that really is. You know, it's so great. Kids are just the greatest ever. They just have a way of communicating things. And I thought about that moment, you know, long after she was gone, long after all that, I laid in bed and thought about that a whole bunch, about how powerful a statement that is. And it really is just a maze, you know?
Yeah.
Let's see here. Helen says, welcome, by the way. I said hello in the beginning, but you must not have made it back. Says, just got here, was watching earthquake 7.7 in Thailand. Good evening. Yeah, I heard about that. RN says, tag and beer are the highlights of my week. Yeah. Thank you. What, so you have a highlight? Or something that was profound to you for the week?
I got a kick out of going and helping the school, going and helping the class get their eggs started.
Mm-hmm.
It was neat to get in and, you know, to me, it's just life. I mean, it's life, but to them, you know, they're learning this whole thing, right? So being able to see it from, you know, from the egg into the hatching life, and being able to allow them to do that, you know, I think they all have their own different things about, you know, one of the teachers said something about the eggs are cooking, and the one kid is like, no, they're not cooking. You know, just, you know, it's just neat to see the excitement, I guess, of that nuances.
You know, real life trad wife says barefoot is best. And LJC says sometimes 9-year-olds are the most wise. Yeah, it's just, you know, they say these things, but, you know, we talk all the time inside our community about perpetual sustainability. And what does that actually mean? And, you know, perpetual obviously means forever. And, you know, and so if we're not engaging and investing in our youth, if we're not spending time to get, just like to the classroom, you know, she went to a classroom that she has no kids in, right? But
right.
you're investing in that next generation and the generation after. And, you know, the future of food is going to look very, very different.
Yeah.
You know, as time wears on.
Well, and at that school, they have a greenhouse. They have, they had like sheep that they were raising.
Mm-hmm.
They have a shooting like range of some kind. They have like, gardening classes. So, I mean, it goes along with like what they're teaching the kids.
Mm-hmm.
It's just nice to see that excitement and the eagerness to learn. And I remember like my first time that I had cracked open an egg that wasn't developed, but was developed. And I was like, oh my gosh, I hate that I did that. But I'm like, whoa, look at how cool that looks. Just, kind of like when you took me to the bodies exhibit and I was just like, wow, look at the sartorius. And you're like, this sucks.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I didn't know that connected there. I thought that the bony landmark looked like this. And you're just like, again.
That's pretty much how I felt too. Drop54 said we grew up with the old version of running water. Mom and Dad would tell us to go get a pail of water. The old hand pump was over 100 feet from the house.
That's running water.
Right. Literally, right? Yeah, Terminator says that parents can learn a lot from the children if they take the time to listen to them. Yeah, I learn a lot from kids, and I'm very pro kid. And one thing that I wish our community had more of was kids. And we have plenty. We have a good handful, but I wish it was 3 times that. Because again, what is perpetual sustainability? And you're not ever going to reach that, right? If you don't invest in the youth and you don't do those things. But anyway, so let's talk about what's coming up.
Okay.
So April 26th, we're going to have our spring community event. We'll have a potluck for lunch and dinner.
Lunch and dinner?
As I understand it, being told that they're going to do some herb starting stuff with the kids and with whoever wants to get involved. So they'll be doing some planting. They want to do a brooder comparison. Everybody has different, brooders and different things, the way they do things. And so we're going to bring them all together and we're going to look at how everybody does it and have a little presentation about brooding. We'll do a spring plant swap so people can swap, I guess not just plants, but chicks, turkeys, whatever it is. We'll have a barter town, some social time, and a big old bonfire.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And we're going to do this again on April the 26th. But what's cool about this is on April the 12th, we're going to do a community day at my house so that we can make sure the community building is ready for all of this and all the little, knots get tied. And so this will be the first one, really, the real first large one of the year. We've had lots of little stuff that has gone on, but let's see here. AK Amber says, thanks for sharing those stories. Did you know you can grow a chick outside of its egg? It's cool for kids to grow. Use a jar lid and plastic wrap.
A jar lid?
That's really cool. I did not know
Google that. No, I didn't know that either.
Yeah. Yeah, I did not know that. Jesus says the bodies exhibit was cool, sad, but cool. Seeing things in real sizes makes it all make more sense. Yeah, that's not really my thing. B is all about it. And so I took her because I knew she'd be all about it, but I was absolutely playing on my phone the whole time because it's just a whole bunch of de-skinned people with, silicone pumped through everything. But
yeah, there was like a nervous system just standing there with nothing else attached to it.
Terminator says that's 4 days after my 47th anniversary. Congratulations. It'll be nice when we come to visit and meet all the fine friends. Yep, we look forward to that. So anyway, so this will be the first one that we do. Again, we're going to have to do a...
this is the first spring event.
The first spring event, yep.
And we'll see how the whole barter town and how it all goes.
Well, the barter town I'm really excited about because I look at it different than the barter town like at Midwest. So the barter town at Midwest is more prepper centric. And so you see a lot of gear and you see a lot of stuff like that when this is really about spring, about the story of life. It's the springtime and you get to trade your turkeys for, something else.
Oh, so it's not bring your boots that
you can bring whatever.
Into?
No, you can bring whatever. Like a lot of the things I'll bring is my leftover building supplies. Like for example, oh my gosh, do I have those? You go and you decide to tile a bathroom floor and you end up with 2 boxes left over.
Oh.
Just stuff like that. And so I'm sure there'll be lots of things, but I also am saying that this will be a much more homestead based crowd. And so I think what you'll find is more trees, more plants, more chicks, more eggs, more incubators, things of that nature, and less magazine pouches, ammunition.
Oh, okay.
You know, I just think that the crowd will be a little bit different. Hicksraw 54 says we had 2 channels to pick from unless the weather was bad. Anyone remember rabbit ears? We had rabbit ears. Yep. Yeah, the ring, the jar lid as its boundary. It's neat to watch. So I think what she's saying is take saran wrap, right? Put it on the bottom of the ring, put the egg in, crack the egg and put it in there, and then put the saran wrap back on the top and then incubate. That's really cool. Really, really cool. Harry Kent Hepworth, how are you, my friend? Says tax time. So calculated 2024 electric rate in East Tennessee at 12.9 cents per kilowatt hour was 13 cents during 2023. We have a solar system, 15.7 kilowatt with battery backup, 40 kilowatt hour. Yeah, I kind of believe in that. Energy is going to be the issue. I mean, I think we're going to see exorbitant energy prices. And so I would really encourage everybody to get some type of alternative energy, even if it's nothing more than a battery charger, you know, something you can charge your drill batteries or run a computer on, anything. But I would absolutely encourage everybody to have something. Jesus says, I enjoy the biology stuff. My ex-husband was less than impressed. Me too. But I drug him along anyway. Yeah, B did too. Yay, time to empty our storage container, Louise says. Yep, I think it'll be a great opportunity. And, you know, it's what's so cool about watching community grow, in my opinion.
To barter, is that what she's saying?
To barter, because everybody's at a different phase.
Yeah.
And
oh, yeah.
You know, so the stuff that Lou's potentially threw, I'm just entering.
Yeah.
Or vice versa, you know. And so I think it'd be a great opportunity. Really, it's just a big social event to eat and, you know, have fun and all of those things. But I'm very much looking forward to this. And, you know, I really didn't have any role in putting it together, but, you know, the community does it. But I think these are some good stuff to do, and we'll just kind of see what happens. I've got a big old pile of wood out there to burn, so we ought to.
And you're burning it before this, right?
No, I'm going to burn it on April 26th, weather permitting, right? As long as it's not windy. Like today, I wouldn't burn.
Oh, right. No.
You know, but assuming. So right after that, 12 days later, Joe Salatin will be here. And there's a lot of stuff going on there. We're trying to figure out a little bit how to maybe deploy him for at least a few hours at the same school that B was talking about. See if the school would be interested in having him come speak to all of the students at like a prep rally about why the future of food is different and why we have to look at food differently. And
I love that.
Yeah. Well, babe, this is about perpetual sustainability. How do we get
those
there?
Kids?
That's how we do it. And so, yes, it costs all of us in the community. It costs us our resources to be able to present Joe Salatin at the local school. But you tell me a better investment.
I don't know if they're going to know who he is.
I don't know if they will either. And I would actually argue that a lot of them won't. But he's a good speaker, you know, and he has a good story.
And if they Google him, they
will find out
who he is.
Yeah, someone who knew he was coming asked me if I would send them a couple links, and so I sent them links of the Joe Rogan podcast, the RFK podcast, you know,
with him
because you know he's all over the place, you know. But so anyway, I'm very excited about that. We still don't have all of the details worked out. We're going to get it all worked out as far as the exact things, but I'm kind of right now waiting to hear back from the school side to see if this is something that we can pull off, and so we'll just kind of go at it from there. Let's see here. Arnon says, tag, I'm not sure, but I think I have 2 or 3 of everything. The challenge is finding it. Yeah, well, I know that to be true. I know that to be true. Hey, my buddy Matt's in the house. Hey, Matt, how are you? Good to see you. We were just talking about Joel. Let's see here. Jesus says, as an adult, I would love to see him do a presentation, but I think of all of the seeds he could plant with them, getting them thinking about where the food comes from. Yeah, and so we've talked about that a little bit, about maybe it would be better you know, to do something more hands-on. The problem is, in my opinion, is that's a great time for 13 kids to watch or 20 kids to watch. I think I can have more impact on a bigger scale by getting him in a pep rally to have that conversation. And so, you know, again, we'll just have to figure out. Again, we're still working on. We're still just working on the details. I don't want to say too much about it because I don't want to speak for the community, and I want to make sure that I get it all right before I totally announce each and individual detail. But it's 100% confirmed. He will be here May the 8th, which is pretty exciting, which by the way is my birthday. on my birthday, which is pretty cool. Let me see here. Hippocrates says they will after he's there. Yeah.
Know who he is.
Yeah, they will after he's there. Great point. Hey, look at that. Our buddy Becky's in the house.
Becky!
How are you?
Hey, did you see my basil's growing that you gave me? It's growing back.
Jesus says, or even an evening thing where the parents could also attend. Well, we're going to have him for a whole bunch of time. And all we're talking about is taking a couple hours out of that time, donating it to the school to maybe try to reach some kids. There'll be plenty of other events that go on with Joel and plenty of other things that go on. But again, we're going to try to do our best to find perpetual sustainability. Matt says, I'm good. Wyatt leaves for Polyface Farm on April 26th. Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool. Yep, Silver Lining says exciting. It is exciting. Yep. So anyway, so that's what's going on. So we'll get to kind of through that. I'm actually looking forward to the community day ahead of time, right? We get to hang out again.
Yep.
And it puts a little bit of pressure on me because I've got to get some things done.
Oh, yeah, because the community building is, we've been using it for meetings, but there's no water. There's no...
Yeah, I have to get all that.
Gas hooked up. There's no...
Yeah, that's part of the reason why I'm having a community day is so I can get a lot of that stuff, knocked out.
Park.
I'm going to try to get the gutters on this weekend is my goal, so I can start collecting water. But there's just a lot to get done. But the good news is, guys, we have a great community. They will pitch in.
Oh,
we
absolutely.
will figure it out. And I just think it's absolutely amazing. And I hope we can find a way to reach the kids, because it'd be very easy to just look inside and say, hey, I want to spend, I'm going to be with Joel, or we're just going to take care of it. But I think there's a whole nother side to say, how do we give it to the next generation? And, you talked about the eggs in the school, which is important. We've got some teachers in our community that give it back to the kids. And I just think it'd just be a neat thing if we can figure it out. So we'll keep the American Roots right there. Speaking of, American Roots says lots to get done. Yes, lots to get done. Yeah, Hippocrates says, wait, the school library doesn't have a Joe Salatin section? I doubt it. Hickshaw says, when is the community day? So that will be April the 12th during that day. And we'll try to get a lot of it done.
That's a community work day.
Community work day. Yeah, is the April the 12th. Let me go back a screen here real quick. So April the 12th, we're going to do a community day. April 26th, we're going to do our spring festival. May the 8th, Joe Salatin will be here. Did I get that all right?
Yeah.
Then following that up, you've got the Midwest Preparedness Project, which is the 9th and the 10th. May. So he will leave my house.
Well, no, that's the 6th.
Well, the whole event is the 6th through 11th, but he's speaking on the 9th and the 10th.
Okay.
So he'll leave my house on the 8th. He'll go to the Midwest Preparedness Project. He'll do a couple classes there, and it looks like he'll be teaching immunizing yourself from the system on Friday, and on Saturday, the food emancipation proclamation from Midwest Preparedness Project. So really the people, at least around here, are people who go have an opportunity to have 3 of them right in a row, with him, which will be pretty cool. This is, I think, the 23rd Midwest Preparedness Project, if I remember right. Mo says, need a kid competition of some kind. Yeah, they're working on that. The real life trad wife who's in here tonight, her oldest daughters played a big role in putting a lot of these events together. And so I'm hoping they come up with something really cool for the kids. I don't have the bandwidth to be involved in all of it. I don't even want to be involved in all of it.
You got enough to do.
Yeah, tell me where I got to be, what time I got to show up, and what the expectations of me are. And I'm pretty happy right there.
Well, with us having a event the day before these, that's a lot going on at one time.
Yeah. Real Trad Life says, B, did your rosemary come back?
I think it is.
Okay, so then we get done in May with these events, and then June the 5th of 2025, we're going to have our Freedom. July 5th of 2025, we will have our Freedom Festival, live music, professional fireworks, all of those kinds of things. Lots of eating. Really, it's all of our events are based around food, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody likes to eat, and we are blessed to have some absolute amazing cooks in our community. So we eat great. So lots of details still to come. We're still working a lot of stuff out, but that's kind of our schedule
And that will be here. The
Yeah.
July
Yeah, all of those.
will be
Except the
here.
Midwest, all the rest of them are here. Right.
Maybe.
I think so. The spring one already is.
Joel might not be. May not. We don't have details for that yet.
Well, he'll be here some. I guarantee you he'll be here some.
For the meeting, I'm talking about for him talking for his events. Yes.
Yeah, he will give some classic of some kind. Again, I just don't know all of the details yet.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Matt says this year's festival is super stacked with fantastic presenters. Yeah, they've got a bunch going on. I'm not super involved in the day-to-day, so I don't really even know who's all going to be there, but you guys can look them up, Midwest Preparedness Project on Facebook, midwestpreparednessproject.com, I think is the website, and look at that more.
Well, they're also on Facebook and
yeah, I'm not even sure how much I'll make it this year because I have so much going on, but we'll just have to see. Instigator said pig casing cleaning competition.
For the kids.
Yeah, David said, I've been thinking a lot about the 3 most important things you can teach a child. The third one is surviving outside the system, which obviously includes growing food. Yeah, we've talked a lot inside our community recently. A lot of the conversations have been about food independence. And really what that really comes down to is food security. But there's lots of conversations. We challenge this all the time, but it's hard. There's no roadmap. Hey, this is how you follow it. And so it's a lot of, writing it. I used to tell people in my professional career before I retired that the greatest thing about working on startup companies is you get to make all the rules. And the worst thing about working on startup companies, you get to make all the rules. And this is a lot of true for the things that you do inside, community and those things too, because the good news is you get to make all the rules, but the bad news is you have to make all the rules.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe not even rules isn't the right word here. It'd be
whatever it is.
More goals and processes and and those kind of things. But all right, should get a truck in here. I am trying to get B's food forest fence in. I'm just still concreting poles. So it's a chore, but eventually I will get all the way around and then we can finally put some fence up. I think I got a couple more pictures in here.
Well, we can only do so many at a time.
Yep.
We have to have C-clamps to hold the poles up.
Yeah, and I only have so many of them. So I'm setting 7 poles at a time right now, and then you concrete them in the ground so they're there forever. And then I'll build the fence kind of around them. Ricky Deaky Doodog Grams says, welcome, by the way, says, I've been counting the days since the last Midwest Preparedness Project until this one coming up. Yeah, David adds trial and error. It is. And it is just, you just try to work through it and try to figure out how to have grace and how to give grace, how to receive grace, which is, not always easy. And, but it's worth it. And it's worth figuring it out in the end. And the truth is, and I tell the community this all the time, I don't know the way. And we're making it up as we go. And
well, we could tell you if it worked the way we did it.
Yeah.
If it didn't the way we did it.
We have experience that says, hey, don't do this.
Yeah, don't do that.
Or whatever it is. But the truth is we don't know the way because what we're working on has never been done. And you guys, I've traveled all over the United States speaking. I've visited many communities. And what happens here is like no other place. There's nobody even close. And that's not a burn. We're just all in a different place in our journey. But I have yet to find anything even close. So, but the downside to that is that there's no rule book. There's no manual that you get to look at. Yeah. But the good news is we get to do it our way.
We have to create it as we go.
Right.
And not we like you and I. We as in all of us.
Right. So B is planting a lot. We're going to take a look at some pictures from her food forest. Things are just barely starting to come up now. So there's green happening, and then stuff in her greenhouse. And then I thought we'd play a little quiz with B over a topic her and I banter over.
What?
Real quick. This is, you want to just talk a little bit about your greenhouse? What do you all have growing? I'll just kind of flip through these pictures.
Those are the pumpkins. These ones are pumpkins. Yeah. Those ones are zucchinis. Oh, well, this picture got cut off. That's my, well, you can see a couple of Jerusalem artichokes. Paradise Stanley gave me some Jerusalem artichokes, and I had put them in the garden last year, and they are coming back up. But the bucket that she had given them to me, so I'd taken them out and planted them, and I thought that the bucket was empty. So I put some moringa trees in a bucket of water to soak, and then I took them and I put them into that pot that she had her Jerusalem artichokes in. And so I was expecting I took the lid off of it because I close it in the nighttime to keep heat in, and then I opened it in the morning, and I was, hey, there's Jerusalem artichokes coming up in here. So I took those out and put them in another container. And that's what's popping up in this far container. And then the sweet potatoes, I'm trying to get slips out of. And then next to those are the moringa trees that were in with the Jerusalem artichokes. So I had put those seeds in there, and I had gotten 9 of the seeds to come up already.
Nice.
So
Jess
I'm going
said
to
those look like cucumbers.
well,
Probably the other
those
two.
ones over there are cucumbers. Yeah. Those cucumbers are the best. Like those have come up better than anything else in the whole greenhouse. Those cucumbers.
Yeah. Our says, tag, how much do the metal posts cost in your area? So I bought those for $20 a piece in an auction. They're 10 feet long, 5 inches in diameter. And I didn't know what I was going to do with them at the time, but I love buying building material. Just stack it to the roof, and then I'll get to the project at some point. But
yeah.
So yes, we're making.
But we have to store it in the meantime.
Yeah.
Which can, mowing around it gets kind of.
You got some announcements?
Tedious.
This picture be?
Do I have announcements?
You do.
These are my cows. These are my cows. And I'm keeping them.
Is there any other thing you'd like to say?
I love them. I want more.
You're getting warmer.
We were, you pushed all the hay out of the way and put a new bale in.
I did that too.
And now they're happy. They're all laying down, sleeping.
What happened? So tell us the names of the cows. Let's start there.
Moo.
That's the first one, the black one looking at you.
Yeah, with her ear tag. And then the red one in the middle is Lady Girl. And then the last one is Freeman. Oh, the mucus plug. Didn't we talk about that?
No.
So on Moo, my first female right there with her ear tag, she lost her mucus plug. So this was there was something on her side, and I was like, oh my gosh, what is that? And at first I thought it was like a bug, which is kind of weird, I know, but I went over to it and I tried to pull it off of her, and it would not come off of her. It I'm not kidding you, it was like Velcro stuck right back to her. And I was like, what the? And I pulled it off of her, and then I took a picture of it and sent it to Lou and went, what is this? And she said, looks like the mucus plug. And I was like, I kind of thought so too. So that means for about 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. So after they lose their mucus plug, apparently it takes 4 weeks for the baby to finally come.
Up to 4 weeks.
Up to 4 weeks.
The port, because you could go out there any day and it'd be there.
So we will keep our eyes open for her to start isolating herself and looking for other evidence, I guess, in the field.
And the lady, the middle one, is also pregnant, but she's not
due until
May, right?
Yeah,
something like that.
She was quite a bit farther longer than Moo because it was her first breeding.
Mm-hmm.
Breeding.
She's a first-time mama.
Yes, that's a good way to say that.
Yeah, that's why you keep me around.
Yes.
Yeah. Pack Rat says cow math in action. Moo, more.
More.
Yeah.
Moo.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought we'd have a little fun tonight. So B has a food forest, and we work on it all the time, and there is something planted in every square inch. Seems like. So
stay away from my plant.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming up. So anyway, I joke with B all the time about you don't even know what you got in there. You don't even know. And she's like, I know everything I've got in there.
I have a map.
Yeah. Well, except you don't have your map on you.
I do, kind of.
No, don't take it out. You don't have it exposed where you can see it, correct?
No.
Okay. So what I thought we'd do is we'd have a little fun, and I took some pictures of a bunch of stuff popping up and see if B even actually knows what she has in, because I'm betting she doesn't. And she's betting that she does. I'll bet you. Big Kid, hey, how are you, buddy? Says we have 3 new calves here too. How cool is that?
Oh, it's so exciting.
Yeah. Lisa says, B, when I planted Jerusalem artichokes 2 inches deep, they flopped over when they got tall. Now I always plant them 6 inches deep so they don't flop over as much.
What do you mean they flopped over?
Probably just fell over. Lou says freesteading lady played hard to get. That's why she took long. Why she's doing May.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was too far.
Most first-time moms play hard to get, Lou.
Moo's due in May. So 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Could be the 1st of May.
Hey, Tulip Little Angel, how are you? Says chicken math calculus.
Calculus.
What did I just do there? Oh, there we go. That's a great comment. Okay, so B, tell us what we got going on here in your food forest and everything else. What are all that stuff?
That's the saffron in the first picture. And then the second picture is catmint.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one is strawberries.
Oh, my goodness. She's right.
Those are easy, though.
Okay, well, let's keep going.
Oh, the daffodils are popping up. I didn't see those. And then the other one's yarrow. That's the currants. That's the black currants.
Okay.
The red currants didn't make it.
What's that one?
That one's also a black currant.
Yeah. Okay. What's that one?
That's the comfrey.
Oh my goodness. Big Kid says my herd went from 5 to 8 in a month's time. Amazing and a long time coming. Congratulations. Amy B says, so I have been scared to death by people telling me how Jerusalem artichokes want to take over the world. Do I believe the hype? I would not.
Mine did not grow as they did not spread like I thought that they would.
Matt says this group could produce a successful comedy special with no problems. Yep. Hey, Tim, how are you? Good evening to you.
Problemos.
Tim's been busy planting fruit trees. Okay, let's see what else you got here.
Oh, yeah, that's the pears.
Isn't that beautiful? I took a few tree pictures.
Yeah, those are looking great.
What's that?
That's the purple, the elderberry.
Yeah, Lou says she's nailing it, tag. Go B. All right, well,
yeah.
It ain't over yet.
That's a gooseberry.
Yeah, that one quick. I didn't think you would get that one.
Yeah, that's the plum.
What's that one? Look at all those blooms.
That's the plum also.
Just a different plum?
Well, go back to the other one. That other one was a peach then. No. You took that. You're tricky.
Those are not the same tree.
No, this was just south of that other one though.
Mm-hmm.
Which I want to say that one's a peach. Because the other one is a pear. Plum. That one's a plum.
Isn't that beautiful? I think it's beautiful.
That one has that's garlic.
What else? What's that? That's not garlic.
That's no, garlic. It starts with an A. It's I took it from my dad's. It's a bulb and it has one, so that greenery, it'll have one flower that comes off with these little, is it asalum or something like that? Mm-hmm. Aslam.
Looks like I'm gonna win.
Yeah, because I got that from my dad's yard.
Big Kid says, I haven't been around. Can someone tell me what happened to freesteading? Yeah, I can actually. And we talked about it here on the lives, and we talked about it on freesteading. I put a post on freesteading saying we wanted to make some major changes to freesteading. And we had a conversation with a few people. Instigator was in there, for example, who's here tonight. And then we turned it off and it's in construction. And we'll see how it goes.
How it comes back, yeah.
Yeah, Brian the Matador says, if Jerusalem artichokes take over, we are going to have plenty of methane to power the world. Beth Emily says, B, I'm liking this. Tag likes trying to trip you up.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh, of course I do. My job. That's my job. I think.
And this little stuff right here is mint.
The little stuff between the two?
Yeah, so I need to pull this out of, so those need to be not in there. I planted those there when we first got here, and then I was like, I planted one bulb there.
Yep. Your garlic needs separated.
The garlic is, they're little garlics. So
But if you separated them, they'd be bigger garlic.
they don't get like elephant. They're still little garlics. And you can.
Lisa says some Jerusalem artichokes don't produce viable seeds. Mine do, and they are impossible to deadhead because they are 10 feet tall. They have taken over my entire yard, and I'm afraid to look over the fence.
Oh, they've taken over the whole yard?
Yeah, Big Kid says I've been fighting cellulitis for several months and got behind on everything. Yeah, and by the way, Silver Lining said it's a peach. Okay, I would say B gets at least a B tonight. What do you think?
Yeah.
You think you earned a B?
Yeah.
Do you?
B.
Yeah. What grade do you guys think B earned in the? She
I
has
got
no
one
idea.
wrong.
She has no idea what she's got planted in her food force. I'd be curious to see what everyone else's grades are. I'd give you a solid B.
I need to get that flour out of there though, because that's not. It's mixed in between the mint, and that mint that gets tall and big, and
Of course, Silver Lining. Of course. Why? She says A plus.
I like that too.
I want you for a teacher.
That's better.
Yep, Silver Lining and Helen, they'll be my teachers because that means I don't have to get perfect work, and I'm still going to get an A plus. That's a good deal. I like that. Yep, you guys should be teachers for kindergartners.
Just for me.
Let's see here. Nito says, looking at your fruit garden pictures, you guys are much warmer than we are. Mine are just budding out. We've had some nice weather.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been around for long, you know. Yeah.
No, it's just this last couple of days we've had like 70s and 80s.
There you go. Is that what you're looking for? Stable?
I don't know.
All
I'm
you
going
know
to write it down though.
You want me to leave that up there for you?
No.
Okay. Amy B says it's spring and early at that. In a few weeks, the food forest will reveal itself. Oh, yeah, you guys, when you get into, for anybody who's ever seen it, we get into July and August, it's amazing to look at. It's big and everything's growing and there's fruit everywhere. But right now, it's just kind of starting. Gypsy gave you an A minus.
That's still okay.
Yeah, that's his way of siding with the bros, but yet not pissing the girls off. That's totally the middle ground.
He's a smart guy.
Yeah, Silver Lining says tag C for continuing the community. Yeah. All right. Well, it's been an hour and 7 minutes. You want to talk about other things, or what else you got?
Yeah, go ahead.
Let me make sure I didn't get anything here real quick for you guys. Again, I want to stress enough, I'm looking forward to all the community events that are coming up. There's a whole slew of them. And we're going to build tighter bonds and better relationships. And we're going to learn a whole bunch, along the way. And so I'm super, super excited about that. There's a lot, as you guys know, going on in the world. And, for me, there you go. It's pronounced Stilby. A Stilby.
A Stilby.
Is how it's pronounced. Yeah. I don't know.
She says.
Anyway, so, I've been trying lately to kind of pick a topic and run with it for a little bit and try to take a deep dive into it and then throw a little bit of news. So tonight I thought I would talk a little bit about what's going on with all of the rhetoric about Greenland and Canada and, the Panama Canal and Venezuela and Mexico and, all the tariffs that's being slapped on, what once was our allies and, that Canada should be the 51st state and all of this kind of stuff that's going on. I thought I'd take a little bit of a deep dive into it a little bit because I think that there's some clues there that will help us come to better conclusion, maybe. So Lady Liberty says now that Trump is laying the proud for going to war with Venezuela. So I don't know if you guys know this or not, but he's been doubling up on tariffs and stuff for Venezuela. He's also planning trips to Russia. And these people are wondering if the gift of Venezuela to Russia is, for America turning their back and letting Russia have the Ukraine. Donald Trump said announcing today the United States of America will be putting what's known as the secondary tariff on the country of Venezuela for numerous reasons, including the fact that Venezuela has purposefully and deceitfully sent to the United States undercover tens of thousands of high-level and other criminals, many of whom are murderers and people of a very violent nature. Among the gangs they sent to the United States is the Trendiagua, which has been given the designation of a foreign terrorist organization. We are in the process of returning them to Venezuela. It is a big task. In addition, Venezuela has been very hostile to the United States and the freedoms which we espouse. Therefore, any country that purchases oil and or gas from Venezuela will be forced to also pay a tariff of 25% to the United States on any trade they do with our country. All documentation will be signed and registered, and the tariff will take place on April the 2nd, 2025, Liberation Day in America. Please let this notification serve to represent that the Department of Homeland Security, Border Patrol, and other law enforcement agencies within our country have been so notified. Thank you for your attention in this matter. So I think this is a little bit out there, at least in my opinion. How can you, because someone does business with somebody else, you're going to charge them more. I don't know that I like it all that much, but I don't want to get down that road quite yet. Let's see here. Distraught Moth. I love that name. It's a great name. Distraught Moth, how are you? I absolutely love that name. Welcome in. Under President Trump, countries that purchase from Venezuela, as I mentioned, are going to pay a 25% tariff. And America's BlackRock has agreed to purchase 2 of the large ports in the Panama Canal. We talked about this in previous, lives, that he's kind of gone after Panama, and now an American company has a deal in place to buy the ports. So if you look to the south of us as we work our way up, right, we're talking about Venezuela, which is the top part, one of the top countries in South America, and Panama, which is one of the bottom countries in Central America, right? You tracking?
Okay.
Okay. Keep tracking with me, Pumpkin. Trump plans to, as you guys know, rename the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. And again, I think this is a clue. Trump joins forces with Mexico government to take out the drug cartels. So there's a lot of working going on between Mexico and the United States in reference to the drug cartels. And if you notice, Trump said he was going to put tariffs on Mexico. Mexico quickly made a deal, and the tariff idea went away. Canada, however, has not been so friendly to that. Trump claims he wants to make them the 51st state. But Canada is now preparing to confront Donald Trump on these tariffs. And it was a really interesting quote. Both nations see the trade war as a major threat. The new Prime Minister of Canada came out and said that we are no longer allies. Trump has not backed down, and he continues to make a call for the 51st state. And I think there's a reason for this. Why does Trump think he can bully Mexico with a 25% tariff? He knows that Mexico is far more dependent on the trade with the U.S. than the U.S. is on trade with Mexico. A rupture in the U.S.-Mexico supply chain would provoke an immediate recession in Mexico. And so what they're saying is that these tariffs could cause places like Mexico and Canada, right, to fall into recessions, which it looks like we very well might be also. But again, I think there may be a reason. I'll continue. U.S. welcomes Greenland into the fold. You guys know there's a lot of talk about Greenland becoming part of the United States of America. I thought it was interesting this week that Vice President Vance went there and wasn't really accepted, all that great. The message to Trump from Putin when he spoke was pretty clear. You take Greenland and I'll take Ukraine, they say. I don't know if that really happened, but I do find it interesting. The vice president said, calling it now, we're going to take Greenland. The case for acquisition has been made. The might of the global American empire still has its way from time to time. So why in the world would they want this? Well, what about a North American Union? There have been talks in the past about the North American Union. You guys are familiar with NAFTA, right? The North American Fair Trade Agreement. And so I think that there's some clues that there may be something to this. We're going to dive into this just a little bit. But what if the real reason was exactly that, was to create a bigger, larger country with more resources? I think a lot of wars in our future are going to be fought over resources. And I think there may be some clues that should suggest that this is a grab at resources. Back in the 30s, there was a guy, there's a couple of them. The first guy, let's see if I wrote his name down. Oh, I bet I didn't. Hold on. No, Howard Scott is who I'm thinking of. So the guy, there's a guy named Howard Scott who ran the Tenocracy Inc. out of the United States, and a guy named Dr. Joseph Hadelman, who ran the same thing up in Canada. And what they were talking about is the Technate of America, where this is super fascinating. If you guys ever get bored, I want you to go read about the Technate of America. Okay. And so what they were talking about is to get rid of capitalism and replace it with a tenocracy where engineers and doctors ran the state. They're not elected. It's just the scientists run the country. They would combine all of the United States, Canada, Mexico, the northern part of South America, and Greenland into one country. People would get a basic universal income. And as you guys can see, Dr. Joshua Hadelman in the picture, social credit candidate. And so they believed that you would get energy credits. Again, guys, this is going on in the 30s.
Yeah.
Right? What else was going on in the 30s, right? The Great Depression, right? And people were in bread lines and food lines, and these leaders come out talking about a, basic income for everybody. The scientists will run everything else. You'd lose your freedom, but what a great place. You would start working at age 25. You'd be done working at age 45. You only had to work 16 hours a week. You got, 2 months of vacation every year. And, this whole story, and this was created all the way, back then. My mouse. Again, I think there's more to this. According to Elon Musk, which, by the way, so you guys know, this guy right here, Joshua Hadelman, that's Elon Musk's grandpa.
Nuh-uh.
Yes, it is. And there's actually a lot of
social credit candidate.
Yes, there's a lot of story to this. I'll continue. According to Elon Musk and Klaus Schwab, the future won't need humans. AI and robots will replace accountants, attorneys, manual laborers, everyone. The elite will be insulated, while the rest are given a universal basic income, UBI tied to a digital ID, social credit, and carbon tax. This is exactly what his grandpa was talking about back then, right? Is that tying everything to a carbon tax with a universal basic income. Tulsi Gabbard on March 18th of 2020 said, good news. I introduced a bill last week calling on the federal government to immediately begin UBI payments, universal basic income, of $1,000 a month. So this was before, right? This is why she was still a Democrat, right? And she was calling for it too. Elon Musk has tweeted out in the past, it is high time that there's a carbon tax. As a reminder, I'm in favor of a basic universal income. And I'll tell you guys something that's interesting. If you look up the World Economic Forum, you'll also find them tweeting why carbon tax is crucial to curbing climate change and 4 reasons cities should embrace for universal basic income. I'll continue. This stuff's interesting to me. So we'll talk about his grandpa real quick. And there's some interesting correlations there. From 1936 to 1941, he was involved in Howard Scott's Tenocracy Incorporated, which eventually led to his arrest. He, again, was from Canada. In 1950, he decided that he was going to leave Canada because it was becoming too socialist. He decided that he would migrate his family to South Africa. This is why Elon Musk is South African. So he was a chiropractor by trade. He opened a chiropractic office. But what I find super interesting about this is he began to search for the lost city of Kalahari. So he became his life mission to find this lost city in Africa. And so he, as a pilot, would fly all over, did, many, trips all around looking for this lost city. He eventually died in a plane crash and never found his city. I find that incredibly ironic because Elon Musk says Terminus is a fitting name for the first city on Mars. We'll make Mars self-sustaining before civilization loses the ability to do so. Atlas Shrugged is coming true. Read the book. Mars is critical to the long-term survival of consciousness, he says. So I'm tie these together real quick. So Elon Musk's grandpa was an adventurer. He flew all over looking for the lost city of Kalahari. He was for UBI. He was for the technocratic state, where scientists and, technical people ran the country. Everybody else got, UBI, kind of like Glenn Beck's book, Agenda 21, right? You read that book, right?
Yeah.
Kind of the same thing. And now here's Elon Musk. His grandson, also an adventurer, wants to go to Mars. Wants to find these lost places where people can live. I find the whole combination quite ironic. Don't you?
Yeah, I think it's Doesn't feel right.
Yeah. See if I get some comments here.
Doesn't taste too good.
Big Kid says war is almost always about resources. Well, I think that's going to get worse. I think we're going to see wars fought over incredible things like water. You know, you guys hear all of these conversations about rare earth, and I mean, Trump said it every other day, right? Jesus says 16 hours a week and still get 2 weeks off. Yeah. Yeah. And you're only working from 25 to 45. You're working,
Yeah, you're doing the job that they tell you you're doing.
That's exactly
you're getting
right.
paid exactly what they're giving you,
right.
and you get what you get, and you don't throw a fit.
Yeah, David said this is about the consolidation of power so that it's easier to control us all the world stage. Well, I think there's some conflicting powers that are going on. And I'm not suggesting that Trump and Putin and Xi Jinping got together and said, hey, I'll take North America, you take Europe, and you get Asia. But maybe. Right? I mean, obviously, I wasn't there.
No.
But I do think there's some conflicting powers going on. And it's interesting to me that why would Trump risk the economy when everything else is bad already? Why would he risk that now? Right? Because the tariffs, although I don't think directly impact, because many of them ain't even in yet, directly impact the state of the economy. But I do think the instability of it, the markets don't like instability. They don't like any kind of chaos. They want things to be the same all the time, right? So why would you risk making it worse? Because you could easily say, hey, we're gonna get the economy back running, and then we'll go do these things. Also, why would the Fed chair Jerome Powell, guys? There are all kinds of signs that the economy's in trouble. Why would he leave interest rates the same and make no changes? For the first time in history, do you guys know that DoorDash, you can actually go and finance your food? So think about this. We have people out there today who are buy now, pay latering their burrito. What does that tell you? The average American today has $5,700 in savings, but yet $8,700 in credit card debt. And I promise you, they're not talking about one person. It's really a few people who have a couple $1 million in savings, and most everybody else has credit card debt.
Probably.
Right. And, that's the national average. Right now, mortgages have 7.03% of mortgages are 60 days or later in default on their mortgage. And the last time this happened was 7.02%, which was in 2008, right before the housing bubble crashed. So I just think it's absolutely crazy, the timing of it. Let's see here. Mo says, I've been rereading Atlas Shrugged again, and he's right. The words in the book look like news headlines. Gary Davis says, reading book Chaos Now, we're screwed. Helen says, carbon tax is like accepting a noose over our neck. I agree with this. I think that is a very dangerous, because, this is, again, guys, we talk about this all the time on this channel, but this is why we get rid of the stroke. This is why we try to get energy independent, why we try to get food independent, why we try to get financially independent, why we do all of these things, because every one of them is a line in. It's a battlefront. And if you've got to go and exchange your carbon tax credit for electricity, then they're controlled. You're done. Right.
Well, and if it's on how many fronts, then they're going to have you.
Right.
That's shooting right like a noose.
Yeah, they get to attack you from 40 fronts, and you have to deal with all 40. Right.
Yeah, deal with it.
Again, which is why we always talk about we have got to challenge the system, and the best way to do that is get out of it the best you can. Mo Engineer's in here, who is a great friend of mine, and he always talks about the ultimate form of rebellion is to not have income at all. Now, you guys want to talk about a monumental challenge? How do you get there?
Right.
Right. But he's absolutely right. I mean, at the end of the day, how do we go about that? And how do we get ourselves in a place where we can combat these types of things?
Because it's not going to get any better. It's not going to go away.
Jesus says, if he knows it will only get worse anyways, why not? How he knows, I don't know. I don't either. It is a pay now or pay more later. He's trying to do several things at once here, bring production back and give us thriving sustainability. I'll tell you something. There's some stuff, Big Kid, that Trump's done that I really appreciate. And I think long-term will benefit small businesses and, a lot of other things. But the order in which that's going on right now, from an economics perspective, my background just doesn't make any sense. Like if it was me And I knew, okay, look, we got all these economic issues we got to deal with first before I just rip the Band-Aid off. Let me settle things down a little bit. Let's get a hold of the feds. Let's lower the interest rates a few points, right? Let's do some things that get us so we're not so vulnerable to it. But none of those things have gone on. So I just am curious to why. The crapocracy. Crapocracy is the most satisfactory to the puppet masters when the majority of society is broke, sick, and chained to an oar of their galley deep below the decks. Well, that's depressing. A.K. Amber says, yeah, the control system coming is is no joke. It is no joke. A.K. Amber says, I'm getting out ASAP. Yeah, we've been working to get out for a long time, and it's a challenge. It's just absolutely a challenge to do it. With what Bank of America is doing to my son, I believe the 5 big banks could easily take your home. Yeah, I think they could easily take your home too. Best thing is don't owe them any money. Right? I mean, this is what I'm talking about. You guys you guys know this, I'm going to speak at the Self-Reliance Festival in October, and I'm going to talk about getting out of the system. And I'm actually going to do an example of how money is the land of make-believe. I'm going to demonstrate it. And, some other things like that. But they get us wrapped up into the system and convince us that we need a new house every 5 years. The average American buys a new house every 5 years, right? By doing that, you're never out of it. It becomes the illusion of equity. I did a video on the illusion of equity way, way back in my early days. Go back and watch it. And how it really is a lie. And, they just keep us trapped in through this programming of what a girl looks like, what a boy looks like, what success looks like. They just keep you wrapped in, because at the end of the day, money is the land of make-believe. All it is doing is getting the machine running. Fact of the matter is they get all the money back in 3 or 4 transactions. I can prove it to you. So then why do it? Well, the answer is because by them paying me and me paying the tire shop and the tire shop paying the grocery store, it gets the machine turning. They never mentioned to you that by the time the grocery store has it, they have it all back. It never really existed. It, again, is just a mechanism to keep the machine moving, because our system is based on infinite growth. And as long as it's growing, everything's humming along fine. So why would Trump and the powers that be risk that? Because that's what, again, ultimately folds it down. RN says they are focusing on carbon dioxide, which only makes somewhere around 3% of the air, and the trees and plants thrive in CO2. A.K. Amber says, I've always lived on the edge of society, then got drug in and had to get involved, but getting out again here within the month. Good for you. Mo says no income or minimize is the absolute least. That is in US dollars. Yeah, me and him have many conversations about this. Grocery stores only carry about 4 days worth of food. If anything happens to the grid, shit will hit the fan. If they control the food, they control the people. 100%. Beth Emily said, I gave my son Atlas Shrugged when he was in middle school, and he read it. He also has no credit card debt at 28. Good for you.
Yeah.
Harry Davis says, tag, in my opinion, I think Trump is having to strike fast and hard before they close him down. And maybe this was not really designed, Carrie, to be an anti-Trump thing. Because again, I think there's some good things he's doing, but it's causing a lot of instability. I mean, it really is. And I don't see any way out of that instability. That's hurting small businesses. And you guys know this. I own small businesses. I'm feeling it. If you guys look, retail sales on Amazon are down 13% last quarter. The hardest hit sector is electronics, right? You look at manufacturing across the United States of America had a 13% decline in January and like another 11 in February. Now it's rebounded a little bit since then, but it's like this. The markets don't like this. I promise you they don't. But when the bank decides to not accept your payment, then take you to court for not paying, they can make it look like anything they want. 100%. This is why we have to do everything we can to break that as soon as we can break that. The longer it gets, the harder it becomes. It amazes me every time B goes to a bank and says, hey, can I take $5,000 out? They want a 2-page dissertation on what we're using the money for. Drives me up a wall. Hey, Northern Girl Hobbies, how are you? Welcome in. Brett Boyd, good to see you. So the food is grown outside of our country, everything. Well, Except I think this, well, first of all, Brett, that is 100% true, but I think we're about to see a revolution in food. I'm hoping, Terminator says, Tag, I'm Canadian. I'm a little nervous to travel to the USA. Why would you be nervous? Terminator, I promise you this. Americans do not hate Canadians. I promise you this is not true at all in the least.
Maybe because she's just not been on a plane and traveled much.
Yeah, I mean, we can argue that our government and your government don't get along, but I view Canadians as our brothers. I mean, we've been
right.
It's kind of like really like one country anyway. And don't take this wrong when I say this. I don't really know why America would want to merge simply because of the government that's in Canada, the Justin Trudeau government. But at the end of the day, we are already kind of like one country. And I promise you, Terminator, Americans love Canadians. Don't listen to what you see on TV. No. Amy B says, thanks for the topic, Tag. I paid off my credit cards tonight. Hey, everybody in the chat, give a congrats to Amy B, who paid her credit card debt off today and starved the beast. Right now, they can't use your money, right? Because that's how a credit card works. Now you get to use it. Look at all this. Jesus says, Amy, congrats. Matador says the instability has been there for a long time. The binders are being pulled off and showing everyone the reality of the situation. This is actually a really important point, Ryan. But the fact of the matter is our whole system's based on an illusion. Money's backed by nothing, and it doesn't even really exist. But I can prove it to you. I can absolutely prove it to you that it's not true. It's not about money. It's not about the currency. What it's about is keeping the machine running. Right? Keeping you going to work so that you can pay your taxes, so you can go to the grocery store and you can pay more taxes. And then the grocery store can take that money and go buy tires and pay more taxes. And then they can take it and go pay more taxes. And in just a couple transactions, it's all nothing. The government has 100% of the money back in three and a little bit of transactions, depending upon tax brackets and all those things. But I can confidently tell you guys, between 3 and 5 transactions, 100% of the money has been returned to the federal government. So what's the point?
Doesn't quite seem fair.
What's the point? It's not, because you got to understand it's not about the money.
Yeah.
It's about keeping the machine going, All right, I probably missed a lot. Look at all that. Amy B, there's lots of congratulations out there for you. Yeah, Mo says only in South Park does US not like Canadians. Yeah, 100% agreed. Look at all those. Congrats, Amy. Yeah, really, how long did it take you to get where you're at? Food train doesn't turn on a dime. It doesn't. And it's going to take a long time. And again, I want to make sure I'm stressing, I'm not knocking what Trump's doing at all. What I'm saying is that the economics of our country is in bad shape. And this lack of faith in our system is catastrophic because there's nothing real behind it. And so to Matador's statement that they're pulling the veil back, well, that's a dangerous game. I hope they're ready for the outcome of that. Look at all those congratulations.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Matador says, sort of like having a thin sheet hanging up between your eyes and your guts during surgery. You'd freak out if you saw what they were actually doing. Yeah. I mean, so the question is, Ryan, is it in the patient's best interest to take this sheet down? I loved traveling through Canada when I was going back and forth to Alaska, says Nitos. That was 20 years ago. Look at all those congratulations, Amy. You're pretty popular. Yeah. Instigator says there are some of us that want to grow the real food in the U.S. The roadblock is getting control of the land, bluntly, waiting on the last generation to die off in regulation. And Trump talks a lot about deregulating things, right? And lowering them, and that's all good. And, RFK talks a lot about better food, and that's all good. There's a lot of good stuff out there. But we are in bad shape economically. And I just can't pick it. I can tell you right now, there's a lot of companies out there hurting, and I'm not talking about Amazon. I'm talking about the small muffler shop and the grocery store, right?
The mom and pop shop.
Yeah, the mom and pop shops are getting their tails kicked.
Store down the road.
Yes.
The little yogurt shop.
Yep. You guys know that I'm in, as you know, because you're watching it, right? So I'm in the homesteading and movement and the prepping movement and all of that. And I have a lot of friends who have YouTube channels who, have their affiliate deals and, they make a little money off their channel, and that has all collapsed. Those numbers since November are down at least 50% for pretty much all of them across the board. And, I don't do it here. I don't peddle anything. So for me, it has no effect on me, but I have a lot of good friends who rely on that.
Yeah.
And they say they deserve it. I
Yeah.
mean, they put their time and energy into, researching and doing those kinds of things. But I know a lot of people who are really hurting. The real life trad wife says, I don't see how things could be changed without some sort of instability. 100%. 100%. And if we're going to fix it, it's going to have to hurt. But I hope everybody understands that hurt we're talking about is you. Okay. It ain't Elon Musk.
Right.
It's just not. It's not Jeff Bezos. It's not those people who you see on TV
who are making the decisions.
Yeah, it's not them who are going to get hurt. Because the fact of the matter is you've got one side of our country, the Trump side of our country, who are, Doge, all of these things, doing these things. And at the exact same time, the other half of the country is trying to sabotage every single thing he does. Right or wrong. See here. Northern Girl Hobby says, yep, we are shadowed for sure. We are. Last year, I came to the conclusion that the last administration was doing everything they could to prop up the economy to crash after the election. There's a lot of talk about this. And I think any rational person would say that the couple months, so it's January 20, so February and March, the 2 months that Trump's been in office, this economic situation we're in, he did not create. When you put something in practice, it takes a while to find out if it helped or not. This is true for a small company. We develop a new marketing strategy. I'm not going to know the day I hit send. Right? It's going to take some time to understand. And this is true too. But of course, they're going to blame it on the tariffs. Right? They're going to blame it on because he's buddies with Russia. They're going to blame it on whatever they're going to blame it on. But half the country is trying to sabotage any work being done. And this is dangerous, I think. I think we have to be have our head on a swivel. And I think that there's a lot up in the air. Beth Emily says, my husband works at UPS, volume is down. Yep. Yeah, I read a big article on manufacturing, and they were talking about how inventories are up 6%, prices are up 6%.
Because they're not selling it.
And sales are down 13%,
yeah.
And then 11% the very next year. Brett Boyd says, Trump and tariffs is a total disaster because we import most of our fresh vegetables from Mexico. I think this brings up a really good point. That's another thing. Let's take what Brett Boyd says as fact. Okay. That we import, which we do, most of our fresh vegetables from Mexico. Why would you not strengthen the American supply chain of fresh vegetables before you put the hammer down on Mexico?
Right.
Like to me, if I know I'm going to be making a big change in a company, like let's say I'm going to, get rid of the chief operating officer, and I know it's coming. I'm going to strengthen everything first. I'm going to make sure that I don't get hammered in the process, right? That's just normal. And he is such a good business guy. There's got to be something more to it. Like I promise you, he sees it. Big Kid says, I know a few people who may be cut on account of Doge, and they are all willing if it improves things in the long run. I want to hang out with those people. I have no credit rating and could care less about it. Been paying cash for everything for over 25 years. Nothing compares to the feeling of being debt-free. I agree. Beth, I believe it. I went shopping in the city the other day. Everything's outrageous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a one size fits. Yeah, again, I just have a really hard time believing that he doesn't know those things. And it just seems to me, the rational part of me says I would just do it.
Maybe because he doesn't live in our world.
Or maybe to the previous comment, he's worried that they're going to be successful at hamstringing him. He's going to swing as hard as he can, swing as fast as he can swing. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Helen says buy local or USA only. Since apparently let me go back. Hold on. I want to address this one more time. Helen says buy local or USA only. I would edit that statement to say buy local like-minded or USA like-minded only. Like vote with your dollar. The companies that continue to try to imprison us, let's not do business with them, right? Let's get serious about where we spend our money. And guys, it will absolutely cost you more. Because you can buy a tomato from Mexico at Walmart a whole lot cheaper than you can buy a local grown one at a Dillon's or
a farm store.
Right.
Or even growing it yourself because of the time and effort that it takes to do it.
Since apparently Biden didn't personally sign most of the works that came out of that administration, I'd say it's a professionally rigged demolition. Yeah, I kind of agree with that. because the wintertime growing land is now housing. Oh, great point, Brett. Moses, I think it's too late to fix things slowly. The government would shut down slow change. Fair. Absolutely fair. Tamara says, I have no debt, therefore I have no credit. Yeah, isn't that funny that the very people that are $36 trillion in debt want to give you a score? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, people, it's funny. I have a lot of friends who really celebrate their 800 FICO scores and just roll my eyes. You know what that really means, Anyway. All right. Brett says, I get Trump's idea, but that works with no perishable goods. Mo says buy local or even better, barter local. Yeah. You guys remember Mo's do everything he can to not have an income. And he's right. He's 100% right. I just don't know how to do that. Too many foreign products are labeled USA through legal artifices.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you can get meat that says it's from US, but it's not from US.
If it's packaged in the US, you can label it US. Better yet, grow your own, or even better yet, build community and have buddies who grow it and barter and trade and get it all that way. Buy local from your neighbor is the only sure way. I agree with you. Get that one out of there. Again, guys, I think that all of this very well could just be pointing to a resource war, and it makes sense to me. You've got a lot of history about the North American Union, and it's the only viable option I can see, because the only other thing that I think about is, Trump has a habit of asking for the moon, knowing he's going to land in the sand. Like ask up here, and if I get down here, this is what I really wanted anyway. There's a lot of negotiations that I was part of that we would purposefully say we wanted something we really didn't care about, so that when we gave it up, everybody felt like they won. Like those kinds of things. So maybe he wants a military base in Greenland, and by saying I'm going to take over Greenland, but that doesn't really make sense for all the rest of them. I think there's got to be, something else there. Yeah. Oh, Helen, great point. Helen says, poor have credit scores, rich have portfolios. Really well said. That is really well said.
Wow.
Helen, A for you.
That's true.
Yep. Your FICO score is the shiniest of the shackles for the slave to polish. Yeah. I love that too. Yeah. Brett Boyd says, better yet, keep it between friends. Couldn't agree more. That's why community matters again, right? We support locally as much as we can, says Northern Girl Hobby. Sometimes ordering online is cheaper while it's still an option. We've kind of gotten to a point where we're trying to just do as much of it as we can right here on our farm, and then we're trying to grow in excess so that we can contribute to our community. We talked about the April event. I'm looking forward to being able to barter plants, right? It's I think that ultimately is a way we can subsidize everything. I don't think you can ever totally get to it, because I'll never have a factory that builds oil filters for my skid steer, right? But I do think that we can get a long, long way, I think. Let's keep it trucking. How World War III begins. Another thought behind why all of this is happening is because of the resource grab, and that there are people in power that believe World War III is around the corner. I can tell you that I personally have had conversations with people in who potentially could be in the know. Gotta be careful how I say that, but potentially be in the know, who have quoted the year 2029 as the year that the United States and China go to war. And I actually found articles of how World War III begins in 2029. Air Force General predicts war with China in 25. There was an article that came out today that said China was going to pounce on Taiwan now. Which you guys want to see chaos. You want to see everything turn around quick, and stock markets crash, and all kinds of that. Watch what happens if China invades Taiwan. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth says U.S. prepared to go to war with China over the tariff threats. Tamara Smith had this, I think, right on. Says, I think World War III is already going on. I do too. I think it's just a different war. It's sixth generation warfare that's being fought with cyber attacks and propaganda campaigns and social media and programming, and all of those kinds of things. So you
think it's already going on? Yeah. So how long do you think it's been going on? Since 2020?
Probably for years. I mean, you go back even to 2016, I would say back then, as you got foreign influence in our elections but what's so crazy about that? they bitch and moan about Russia and, involved in our elections. We've been doing it to people's elections for 50 years. America's been involved in elections all over the globe forever and ever and everyone, right? I mean, so I don't know why all of a sudden, we think we're special, but I love it when they tell me how I owe, don't pay, I only pay cash. I don't. Wait, I love it when they tell me I owe, no, I don't, I pay cash only.
Oh, because
hey, Julie Withers. Julie Withers, welcome in. Yeah, Brett says credit's a game for the weak. Yeah, the war has never stopped since 9/11, in my opinion. So that would go back to 2001, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it's been going on a long time. I think it's getting more and more severe. There's really, my instincts really tell me, there's part of me that says that there's a fight amongst some leaders. Maybe it's Trump, maybe it's Putin's on the same team. I don't know, fighting that new world order, fighting that deep state, that wants to send, $300 million to Afghanistan to put on a, LBGQ Sesame Street, program.
Yeah, fill in the blank.
Right. I mean, so maybe, right. But I think this is absolutely possible. I want to take a look real quick at what would happen, if you guys don't mind. I only have 15 minutes, but also I'll do a quick look. What would happen if the U.S., Canada, and Mexico became one country? Hey, big kid, good night to you. So the U.S., just so you guys know from a population perspective, the United States has 333 million people. Canada has 38 million, and Mexico has 130 million people. So when you look at the decline of the Chinese population, this would stack up a whole lot better. So the GDP of the North American Union then would be $26.5 trillion. Okay. And so you take a little bit deeper look at that, right now it's 23 trillion. So we would only be gaining a couple $1 trillion. But these are the GDPs compared to the United States and China. And as you guys see, China has been closing the gap, right, slowly over time. And so I think with the resources, the GDPs, and the manpower, there could be some motivation to join, from that perspective. And you guys, this is not outlandish. I'm going to tell you, Mexican President Volante Fox, proposed for expanding the NAFTA into the European Union style common market, with meaning that, how they have the European Union, they talk about making North American Union, and that would make us a much more powerful country from a resource perspective. Yeah, Northern Hobby says, I heard this was happening years ago for Canada, U.S., and Mexico. Yeah, and this was actually my point right here, is that they've been having talks about combining U.S., Mexico, and Canada in one country for a long, long time. Trump gets a lot of heat on it, right? But these are not new conversations. But I think with the threat going on between Russia, China, Iran, I'm going to tell you guys, Russia, China, and Iran all get together. That's a pretty formidable force, Brett says, for us to take Mexico, oh shit, you have no clue. I have no clue about what, no Brett. This was actually an interesting document I found when I was searching. This was actually a WikiLeaks document that I found from January 28th of 2015. And the document actually talks about combining the United States, Mexico, and Canada into one country. So it's been going on for a while. Let's look at it for a research perspective. So you look at oil productions, we would then control the number 1, the number 4, and like the number 12 oil producers in the world. Total renewable water sources, we would have number 3 and number 4. Natural gas, we would have number 1 and number 6. One really great thing about the North American continent is it's, from a resource perspective, it's way up there. Oh, Brett says Mexican gangs called cartel. Yeah, well,
no idea.
Yeah, and Mexico has a higher birth rate. And this is also really important because Americans have a horrible birth rate. We are under the 2 mark, and if you have 2 people that have less than 2 kids, the population's declining, right? Yeah. That's easy math.
And Mexico doesn't.
I have not looked at Mexico's birth rate. I've looked at China's, India's, a lot of them, but will be cool since Mexico has a much higher birth rate. Which, you have a higher birth rate, you get more soldiers, right? I mean, in the end, this is why we have the education system we have, right? To build better soldiers. GDP per capita, if you guys look at the GDPs of Mexico, China, Canada, and the U.S., and I like to include China because a lot of the issues are North America against China, right? So if you look at the United States in blue, China's in red, and then the green is Mexico, and the yellow is China, the green is Mexico, and the red is Canada. So if you guys look at the GDP per capita, the average American makes 70 grand a year. The average Canadian makes 51, right? The average Chinese person makes 12,000, and the average Mexican citizen makes 10,000. And again, I think this really builds a pretty good case, building a formidable response to the threat of Russia, China, et cetera. And so people would say, well, then why would you alienate Europe, right? Why are we alienating Europe when they'd be our friends? The fact of the matter is they don't have militaries anymore, right? We give way more to them, so they've turned into kind of more of a dependent, really, kind of, than anything else. Hey, Squatchy, what's up, buddy? You're not an hour late. You're right on time. Yeah, Northern Girls Hobby says Mexico is friendly from what I've experienced. I think they put the fear in for people who want to travel there. You know what? I have had a fair number of Hispanic employees, and they're great. I haven't had any problems at all, or certainly not any level of problems greater than that of the, local white guy or black guy, that girl that, that's hired along the way. So I also think that the average American don't think ill of the Mexican people either, just like we don't think ill of the Canadians. At least I don't. From a military personnel perspective, if you combined those three countries, you'd have an average active military personnel of 1.7 million, right? And you'd have an average military spending budget of $820 billion. So when you compare that to China, right? China's got an active military personnel of 2 million and spends 252 billion. But let's look at this again. So if we combined them, we'd have 1.7 million, matching up a lot better now all of a sudden, right? I think there might be something there. And if you look, another reason why we may be going towards these types of things is if you look at the trade that's been going on in South America now. China's overtaken the United States as the number one trade partner to South America, which means we're letting our proposed enemy. I'm not suggesting they're actually an enemy,
right?
But in the government's view, closer and closer and closer to us. And so as you begin to take the Union and you get into Venezuela, which I find so fascinating, that all of the countries that we're attacking are in that map that Elon Musk's grandpa was involved in, right?
Yeah.
If you go all the way back, it bottoms out at Venezuela and it stops at the top up at Greenland. I think that's super fascinating. Anyway, live Friday, World War III alert. The UK and France are now officially sending troops to fight the Russians in Ukraine. You guys have heard this. I think that we are set up pretty well for this trouble. I don't know if you guys have noticed or not, but Israel is in a full-blown land invasion of Gaza. Is going on right now as we speak. There is a half dozen countries in Africa who are fighting and building up troops. The European Union is spending more money today on a military than they ever have because of Trump's activities. Our military is ramping up. China's military is ramping up. And I think I was going to go on and talk about the next. Oh, yep, cool. I did. I didn't know if I had these slides in here. I did. Good. The United States had just sent a whole bunch of B-2 stealth bombers, 7 of them to be exact, down to Diego Garcia military base, which if you look in the map to the right, that military base is 3,254 miles from Iran. And does anybody know what the range of a B-2 bomber is? Any idea? 6,900 miles. So from that base where they're deploying these, they can reach Iran and get back.
Wow.
In their range. Iran has come out and shown a big underground facility that was loaded full of missiles. Trump's given Iran to the end of the month to get out of the nuclear business, or they're going to be in trouble. To top all of that off, there was already 1 aircraft carrier group over there. There are 2 more en route. So, guys, you're talking about a massive amount of military. And I'll put this into perspective. Did you guys know that the USS Gerald Ford, by itself, would represent the 5th most powerful army in the world? I mean, you're just talking, and there's 3 of them headed there.
Is that an aircraft carrier?
An aircraft carrier. I'm talking about, and it's strike group, right? All of the stuff that would go with it. So we're going to have 3 aircraft carrier groups. Anybody know how many aircraft carrier groups we have? 11. We have 11. That's a pretty good percentage. That's 30% of our sea power they have en route. to there now. Now you could argue, we're going over there because we're bombing the Houthis right now. You know, we're bombing the Houthis.
Not.
Okay, we've been bombing them for a while, but there's no reason why you would sell B-2 stealth bombers and aircraft carriers for the Houthis. They're not going to put up a lot of heat unless they think something else is going on. U.S. appears to be significantly increasing its military personnel. And yes, they do. Then one other thing I want to cover before we get out of here, we got 154, so I'll try to blow through this. I also think that all of the division that's going on in our country is going to have a big outcome for us too. You know, Tim Walz, the guy that was running for vice president with Kamala Harris, says, and I quote, "I think we need a shadow government." That's not good, right? So when all of these things come up every single day, we have an alternative press conference telling the truth about what's going on. So you got the other powers trying to, you know, set up a government behind the government. Isn't this the same stuff they got mad at Trump for? That Trump didn't want a peaceful handoff, which is what caused January 6th and blah, 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 blah. This is not a healthy respect for the democratic process, says Chuck Schumer. This is the stuff civil wars are made of. So you've got our elected political leaders talking about civil war, talking about World War III. I don't know. To me, it sure seems like we have a whole big, gigantic shit sandwich all at one time. And I don't see how it ends well, because we could, I'll pick on Brett here real quick. Brett says, I think we need to get the F out of the East and they need to grow up and fight. Yeah, so let's say we do that. We still have 19 other major issues that could collapse this country going on at the exact same time. I mean, there's so much going on. Let me see here. Real, I'm such a tongue twister all the time. The real life trad wife says Mexico has a birth rate under replacement as well. Oh, do they? Okay. Yeah. In closing, though, you know, some actual good news. Well, I don't know if it's good news or not. But the divide is getting big, and you know, the IRS has noticed. I don't know if you guys seen the report that came out in the Wall Street Apes that said that the IRS is predicting $500 billion in lost revenue this year. The IRS has noticed more online chatter from people who say they will no longer pay their taxes.
Oh,
People are done having their tax money laundered. The Treasury Department is expecting a more than 10% drop in taxes receipts by April 15th. So then what happens if you don't pay your taxes? Right? I'm not going to read them because we're getting late in here, but I posted a bunch of social media tweets from people and posts that said, I want it all back. I want every, GD nickel I've ever paid. This is a scam. I want my money back. They stole my money. And so to the IRS's point, if you go out there on any social media platform, you will absolutely find many people saying, that they are no longer going to participate in the system, which is probably how they got that. Last slide I wanted to tell you guys about real quick is this was a super interesting article that's been roaming around. Jen from Life with Mike and Jen, I actually seen her post it first, so I went and did a little bit of digging on it. But on March 5th, 1985, there was a court case of tax evasion, which was filed in the U.S. District Court in Indianapolis, Indiana, by U.S. Attorney George Duncan, and the charge was dismissed. The defense attorney, Lowell Beckcraft of Huntsville, Alabama, presented irrefutable evidence that the 16th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution was never properly ratified, and that this amendment, which established the income tax, was signed into law despite serious defects. So basically what they were saying is there was a lower court that did rule that our income tax is unconstitutional. They didn't take it anywhere. And in fact, the very last paragraph of the summary says the Secretary of the Treasury assures me that there will be no reduction in the workforce, as this refunding activity would take a minimum of 5 years to complete. Further directions will be forwarded. They also talk a little bit in this letter about how they probably don't want this to become public because it would create, quite a storm. Only bring all of these things up just to tell you guys we've got a country that's completely divided. Mm-hmm. We have wars going on every single continent in the world except Antarctica. Right? Somewhere there's people fighting, and our economy is in really, really bad shape. And there's a critic everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And so I think just, to kind of sum it all up, they're not ever going to tell us the truth. The best thing we can go do is break the stroke and get out of it. Do everything we can to isolate ourselves and insulate ourselves. And you're going to do it a lot of ways. Get energy independent, get financially independent, get out of debt, right? Get food independent, which is really hard to do, by the way. Mm-hmm. right? And another thing is that you kind of have to pick your master a little bit. And I would rather pick the master of the community than I would, the master of the government. Yoke up, find other people, and I think that's the best way that, we're going to be able to, withstand regardless of what those things are. And I don't know what they are, but I'm telling you, it's absolutely not looking good. Anyway, it's 2 hours. B, you got any final words you want to impart?
I liked all that you said, but I was also going to add show grace.
Yeah.
Because we can do that more.
Yeah. One other thing I think I'd like to add to tonight, and this was, I have a lot of companies that I help, but one of the companies that I talk to a lot, I gave a speech to the employees this week, and there was a bunch of rumors going around, right? Because sales aren't great, and all of these things are going on. And I told them that if you self-identify as a victim, you'll always find a bad guy. We live in a world where all of us are awake, and because we're all awake, we notice all of these news stories. I do it, right? I mean, I did it tonight. I show you guys all these news stories. It's one thing to see them, it's all of that stuff, but to allow it to zap your emotional energy. I'm not going to be a victim to the news. I'm not going to be a victim to China and Russia. I'm not going to be a victim to the economy. I'm going to insulate myself. I'm going to use it as motivation to have a positive attitude and to continue to go on. So I'd really encourage everybody out there to, don't be a victim, because you'll always find a bad guy. If you're looking for something wrong, you're going to find it. If you're looking for something good, you're going to find it. Just focus in on isolating yourself, and we'll see you guys in a week.
Hold the line.
See you guys.
Be out.
Be out. Stay out.